J. Edgar Hoover? I hardly know her. Welcome to the Swamp. It's our podcast, and it's an acronym.
Stands for some whack-ass movie podcasting.
And today, that was not a quote from the movie we're covering.
Imagine.
I was, like, really trying to think of something funny to say, and
There's plenty of, like, punchy enough quotes that we could have gone with, but I asked you if you had any in mind, and that's what you gave me, so I figured we should probably go with our guts.
But I'm pretty excited to kick off our month for this month, the month that we're kicking off, and the kickoff is that it's board games. Or no board games, just like games. Like movies about games.
Game month. Yeah.
Specifically, I think we kind of used like board games as a jumping off point, but we're definitely, I think we're going to get into some more fringe definition of just what like a game, like movie adaptations of source material that is a game.
Absolutely. If you think that we should do the live-action Assassin's Creed game, please let us know.
Is that a thing? That's a movie?
It's a thing. It's apparently it's horrific.
I believe it. I feel like that's like the whole point of video games like that is that like, you can't tell the story in 2 hours. Like, that's the whole thing.
Just make a mini-series like you should.
Right, like The Last of Us.
Exactly. Did you watch that, by the way?
Yes.
What'd you think?
I liked it, but I was a little too late, so I was like, and I'm chronically online, so I saw, like, as people were watching it, as it got released, I saw all the, like, spoilers, so I was like, oh, I should watch it, and then by the time I did watch it, I just did, like, it all in one day, and then by the time I got to it, I was like, well, yeah, I know. But I did want to shout out listener and Patreon supporter Morgan Bolger. I don't know if I'm saying your name right, but Morgan suggested we do this movie this week, Clue, the 1985 adaptation of the board game Clue. Morgan wrote in and was like, you guys should do this. You should also do a games month. And I was like, hell yes, that is actually when we are all on the same page here. So thank you, Morgan. I also wanted to start, like, maybe not every episode, but just like maybe when I'm feeling like it, picking from our Patreon subscribers and just pulling one randomly. And you guys, I'll send you like a sticker or something, just as like a, hey, thanks for supporting the pod. If you didn't know, we have a Patreon. The link is in the description below. You get video versions of all of our episodes, as well as some occasional little spicy bonus content.
Just in case you want to eat your dinner with us, you know, instead of putting on YouTube.
If you want to see our lovely faces. Faces for radio, as they say.
Yeah, you can watch me grow my hair out over the next couple of months.
I know, you're formerly bald. You're kind of like giving like Sid from
I look like a boy. I look like a little boy who like his mom hasn't scheduled his haircut in a couple of months, so... Yeah.
But so I am gonna shout out Morgan. I will be reaching out to you via Patreon just because you suggested the movie this week. I figured that was a lot easier than pulling a name randomly. But I also wanted to shout out, how do you say like Rhiannon, like the Fleetwood Mac song?
Rhiannon.
Right? Rhiannon.
Yeah.
A listener named Rhiannon also sent us a really lovely message and also pledged more than the $2.86 that we asked of you. So, love you, Rhiannon. Also gonna send you a sticker. What do you call it? Like housekeeping?
Yeah, our housekeeping.
But I had only ever seen this once before, and I like wasn't really paying attention during it. If you know what I mean.
It was like a Netflix kind of situation.
Yeah. But so this was the first time that I was like really like, I definitely have seen like memes and stuff about it too, just because I think it's so like campy and fun. But this was the first time I was, like, sitting down to, like, watch it. What about you?
This is, like, a bad movie to put on if you're, like, just chilling with your boo.
I don't know what the thought process was.
It's an interesting choice. I mean, Tim Curry's just screaming in your ear.
That's what I want, honestly.
Actually, yeah, that's fair, actually. I'd prefer if he was in drag, but, you know, beggars can't be choosers.
We all know that Tim Curry is hot, but he's doing it for me in this movie. His little...
Really?
Little butler getup? Ooh.
Obviously Miss Scarlet is the one for me. Or, yeah.
You mean knock off Susan Sarandon?
Literally. I was talking about how we were doing this movie, like, at the dinner table the other day. And my dad was like, oh yeah, with Susan Sarandon. And I had to say, no, it's not with Susan Sarandon. Actually, she just looks exactly like her.
This movie does have some like jump scares though. I don't know if you've ever watched Better Call Saul, the
No.
Breaking Bad spin-off show. The guy who plays Mr. Green, the gay state agent or
Yeah.
whatever, he plays Bob Odenkirk's brother in the show. And his whole
Really?
deal is that he's convinced himself that he's allergic to electricity. So he like lives in a hut and he's like thinks that he can't go outside because he's allergic to electricity, but like obviously he's just like mentally ill.
Yeah.
That's his whole character. He's a brilliant actor. I feel like he was
Interesting.
definitely underutilized in this. And then
Yes.
Doctor, was it Doctor or Professor? Professor
Plum.
Plum. That's the guy from fucking Back to the Future, Doc. I know you've never seen.
Really? Yeah, I haven't seen Back to the Future.
So there were just some like it like took me scratching my head a second to be like, what do I?
Who are you? Yeah.
But I thought that was pretty funny. They were the only two I think out of the like general cast that I clocked. I didn't really know any of.
I didn't know anyone else besides Timmy.
Obviously, that's my Timmy.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if you talked about it on the pod yet or not, but Dara's recently gotten the ick. Big things going on. Dara has the ick from Timothy Chalamet.
I know. I think we did talk about it on here. Just the Wonka trailer really did something to me that is irreversible, and I kind of have the ick now. I kind of am just like,
See, it's just interesting because you came out of like your hard like stand-up with that, and I've really jumped on like the Paul Mescal like renaissance. Not even renaissance. He hasn't like, but like his big like blow up lately.
Yeah, for
as a bi-curious lesbian. He's really got a grip on me.
Yeah, that makes sense.
He's also my hair inspiration at the moment, so.
Well, not. It's like it's a work in progress.
Yeah. Like one day I'll be there.
We're getting there. I feel like a lot of also bi-curious lesbians would agree with your infatuation with Paul Mescal. He seems like the type, you know.
Well, he's like, and I don't like the phrase like written by a woman, but like you know what I mean.
Like Phoebe Bridgers, like come on.
Yeah.
But had you seen this movie before?
No, I had never seen this. Actually, I had started watching it like a month ago or so, just because I wanted to put on something silly goofy, and I got about an hour into it and then just stopped.
It definitely has parts where it was kind of losing me a little bit, but I do think
it was the researching the house, like back and forth kind of thing. Like that's where I was like, all right, come on.
It was getting a little too Scooby-Doo, like we're running back through the mansion, like you know, after the guys in the costumes, now they're not in the costumes. Like it was very much that vibe where I'm like, this could be a little tighter. But I think the beginning is a lot of fun, and I think that the endings are a lot of fun.
Yes.
It does, like, when they split off in pairs of two, like, that's when I'm kind of like, let's, you know.
Exactly. That's when you're getting up to make yourself another drink, kind of.
Exactly.
Because I would say this movie is either fun, a little buzzed, or a little stoned.
Or, like, at a costume party. Or, like, have a murder mystery party and just have the movie on. You know what I mean?
I don't think you can just be watching this movie. Maybe this is a good movie to Netflix and chill for. Because I don't think you can just be watching this.
Wait, are you a board game person? Like,
I wouldn't say avidly. I do like a board game. I would like to play more board games. I would like to have a community that wants to play more board games. I love Scattergories, which is not a board game.
I love Scattergories too.
Scattergories, yeah.
I get violent.
Really butters my fucking biscuit. So I like Scattergories. But nothing else really pops out to me. I think the last time I played Clue, I was like 19 and like stoned with my friends kind of thing at college, and there was nothing else better to do, and we ended up like someone messed up the game because it is an easy game to mess up. It's been a handful of years.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, did you grow up in like a board game household? Because I feel like you had a lot of siblings, so that's definitely like
maybe less so like in the house because we it would be cutthroat and people's feelings would get hurt, but like I went to like a daycare as a child kind of thing, and there was definitely a handful of board games there that And that's where I played my majority of Clue Junior. But I know you're a board game bitch.
That's so funny though that you say that, because I also was like board games not at the house, because both my brother and I would cheat because we just like wanted to fight. Like we wanted to fight more than we wanted to play whatever board game. So it definitely was not a vibe at the house. But I also went to like an after school program because both my parents worked. You can't just go home at 2:00 if you're fucking 7. So like an after school program, and I never wanted to do the like outdoor activities. Like once you're done with your homework, you can go run around outside. I was always like, can I just pretend? I'd be like, can I like pretend that I have more homework than I actually do, because I really just like want to sit here inside. And all the adults were like, oh, yeah, we see what's going on here. They're like, we're gonna get some board games or something. But I had brought Clue, Harry Potter Clue from home. I'd like gotten it for Christmas or something, and me and like all the adult women like teachers would play inside while all the other kids were like,
that's cute.
But yeah, Harry Potter Clue was definitely a big one. It was, like, who cast the spell in Hogwarts with the whatever. But Clue Junior was like, that was my ish growing up. And I was always Professor Plum because I was a purple girl. Like, growing up, my favorite color was purple, and I was like ride or die for the color purple. So I was always Professor Plum because he was purple.
Yeah, I really liked Life. I liked the game of Life as a kid because it's not overly complicated. I didn't get Monopoly. Like, when you're young, you're kind of like, meh, I don't know about this. I'm buying property, but I liked Life a lot, which says a lot about me now, because now I'm paralyzed to make decisions about my life. But back then, none of it mattered. So maybe that's why.
And they're like, you're a cop. And you're like, okay, cool.
Okay. Yeah. You can switch professions. How many kids do you want? I remember, like, growing up, like, every now and then, like, I'd end up playing, like, the game of Life with friends and everything, and for the first time, like, realizing I could put another pink piece in my car next to me when I get married.
No kids.
Exactly. Dual income. Lesbians.
I love that. But I definitely didn't play a lot of board games growing up, but now my husband and all of his brothers, they were like a mega board game family, especially because they had four boys growing up, so they have like the perfect number of people to like, okay, kids, go fuck off, go play Monopoly, whatever. Yeah. And so we're definitely...
All of them live to adulthood.
Yeah.
Considering.
But that's like that's like our hangout, like drink and play board games. Like that's the function that's happening every weekend. We're big Settlers of Catan people. That's basically
I've never played Settlers of Catan.
It's like the beacon of like board games for adults if you want to like use your brain a little bit more than what a Clue or a Life requires of you. It's it's a little bit more like strategy, but it's not too intimidating. There are some strategy board games that have taken us the entire day to learn the rules of. Like there are some strategy board games that are so like, you have a turn, but then you have a sub-turn, and you're only allowed to do certain things when it's other people's turns, and you have to be paying attention to what other people are doing. Like, the kind of board games that are out there are wild, but I feel like a lot of...
Have you ever played Risk?
I love Risk. I love a media-adjacent version of a board game, so I love, like, Game of Thrones Risk, so it's like, instead of taking over Africa, which, like, feels kind of weird, it's like, I'm taking over Westeros. I'm taking over the Iron Islands, because I'm a bad bitch, like... And the little pieces look like the little houses. I just find it to be more fun because I'm also like bad. I do not win. I'm not good. I'm bad at paying attention. I like to drink and I like to talk, which is like doesn't make me a very engaging player. But I'm also super uncompetitive, so I like do not care if I'm out first kind of vibe. Like I'm just here for
to watch. Vibes. Yeah, you're still entertained. See, I never played Risk, but I remember very vividly the one game that got me like really going was in one of my classes in high school. We played Axis and Allies, which I think is basically the same thing as Risk.
Probably.
But like it was like for like 3 weeks or so we would end class early and we would all just play Axis and Allies. I'm so glad I got the education that I, paid for. My parents.
Taxes,
Taxes, yeah, exactly.
Your good public school dollars are going. I also remember in Spanish class playing Scrabble a lot. They were like, play Scrabble, but do it in Spanish. Go.
Yeah.
A lot of that, I remember.
You play like Jeopardy? for like quizzes and everything like that. Which is
Mm-hmm.
also, do you ever watch Jeopardy? Not to get off like on a crazy tangent, but like I moved home recently,
I love
and
Jeopardy.
that's my sister's thing. Is 7:30 every night. Jeopardy's on. They're in the middle of
Tournament.
a tournament. Yeah, exactly. It's really heating up, guys.
That's one of those things that if it's on my TikTok, I can't not stop, but it'll be like as long as a TikTok can be, like fucking 10 minutes or whatever. And it'll just be an entire episode of Jeopardy on my phone. And I'm like, I guess I gotta watch it
Brilliant.
because I gotta know. But
yeah, I'm rooting for Sam in this tournament.
I'm a Jeopardy bitch for sure.
That's gonna be brutal without cable.
Jeopardy stays on during sex, and I will answer in the form of a question. So. But Clue, the movie Clue.
Anyways,
they took the premise of the board game, which is essentially that you as a player get to pick a little icon, and there's like a murder that's happened, and you're in a house, and it happened in a room with a certain weapon. What's the third thing? Like who died? Is it like who?
I don't know, honestly.
In the blank, with the blank, and then there's like a third. Maybe it's like who it is or something. I don't know. Or who the killer is. Duh.
Yeah.
Who the killer is, what weapon they used, and what happened.
Where.
Yeah, where in the house it happened. And basically through like reasonable deduction, you find out clues. Like you can ask like, oh, on my turn, was it so-and-so? And you learn yes or no, and then you can kind of deduce, and it's whoever guesses correctly first is the winner of Clue. So murder mystery party vibes, kind of that, but board gameized. And this movie basically takes the board game characters and makes them real characters, but also gives a lot of juicy backstory about like them all being blackmailed by this one person, and they all have this like they all work for the government, and they all like have this sort of interesting baggage that they're bringing to the table. They don't know why they've been invited to this like dinner party, but the person who has been blackmailing them all shows up, which they don't know. And then sort of the butler, Tim Curry, is sort of like our narrator through this process. He's kind of like taking us through the beats of like, oh, so maybe you're wondering why you're all here. Let me explain. Sort of vibes. But then once Mr. Body, who is the supposed blackmailer of all our guests, reveals himself, he gives them each a weapon, and then is like, I want one of you to kill the butler. He turns off the lights. A gunshot goes off. When the lights come back on, Mr. Body is dead. So thus ensues sort of our murder mystery of the evening, because they're all sort of accusing each other, like, you did it, no, you did it, the gun went off, no, it was this, it was that, it was the other thing. There's also a cook in the house, and a maid, Yvette the maid.
Yeah, the sexy French maid.
She just has the biggest gahungalungalas. This fucking movie has the most titty per square inch of my TV screen that I think I've ever seen in any film. Like, the cleavage is cleaving in this movie.
She made her presence known. She knocked on that door.
Well, and then also Miss Scarlet is letting the girls...
Oh, yeah.
Dangle.
Which is also like the sort of backstory is that Miss Scarlet runs like sort of like a prostitution ring.
So all of them are like from DC or like work in government or something. So what their initial secrets are revealed to be is like pretty funny to me. Miss Scarlet, her thing is that she just like is the owner of like a sex work operation. She's like, a mother of the house sort of thing who deals with very high profile clients because it's Washington DC, and that's like her big secret, and she's pretty much like, yeah, it's not a secret, like
everyone knows, it's
just my job.
Mitch McConnell was in there last week. What about it?
He stroked out and we had to But, and then Professor Plum, he lost his, like, doctor's license because he was sleeping with one of his patients. Like, having an affair with one of his, psychiatric patients. So that, I'm gonna say, is maybe the actual worst of all the crimes, of the initial crimes. We don't get any information whether it was, like, consensual or non-consensual, but, like, between a patient and a doctor, that's, like, kind of tough. Mr. Green, his secret is that he's a homosexual and that he works for the government, so he's like, no one can know, because it's 1950-something this movie is set in, so it's, like, obviously a way bigger deal.
Miss Peacock is taking bribes.
Miss Peacock, her husband is a politician and she takes bribes, but I'm like, shouldn't the husband be the one, like, getting blackmailed? Right. But I guess she's, like, taking a lot of bribes on the side from, like, labor people, whatever. Colonel Mustard, which the spelling of Colonel fucked me up as a kid. Because they don't...
Oh, yeah, of course.
Junior, they don't change. It's still Colonel Mustard. Colonial, I was like, it's just not, like, that really...
Math isn't mathing.
That boggled me for years of my life.
I'm sure.
Colonial mustard, but you could... The word colonial is also a word, like...
Yeah, of course.
We live in Massachusetts, so we know, like, colonialism. We, had to learn that in history, like, 97 times. Yeah, that fucked me up. But then his secret, basically, is that he was a client of one of Miss Scarlet's people. Yeah. And then...
He, works in the Pentagon or some shit.
Yeah, he's like he's a colonel, so he's like an ex-war guy. Oh, and then White. She basically has had several husbands who have all mysteriously died, and the latest one was a nuclear physicist and also just, like, happened to die, and obviously she is kind of being accused of, like, you definitely have killed all your husbands for their money. And she's also kind of like, yeah, I'm not gonna say I did it.
Call me on it.
I'm not gonna say I didn't do it.
And what about it?
So then they sort of, they have their little hijinks where they romp and run through the house. The body, Mr. Body's body, gets moved at one point. So it's like now he's in the bathroom.
He gets re-killed, basically. He wasn't dead at first. Mm-hmm. A driver shows up. He dies.
Yeah, a driver, a cop.
Policeman, yeah.
And he's sort of doing some light investigative work. And honestly, like a cab, but this cop is chill as a fuck. He shows up and he's just like, I'm not worried about it. He's like, you guys are acting super weird, but honestly, I'm not worried about it. You're having a dinner party, you're all a little tipsy. I get it. But it's not until, like, actual murder starts taking place, like, to him, that he actually gives a shit. He's kind of just like, yeah, I just gotta, just gotta use your phone, stop by, I'm just gonna be chill about it. Like, the chillest a cop in a movie has ever been. And then, the driver, the cop, and the cook and the maid all get murdered.
And the singing telegram.
The girl from the Go-Go's.
All get killed.
They all get, again, like, mysteriously off-screen kind of killed. And so it was very much like the murders are racking up and, it must be one of us. We're still in this house. And then Tim Curry's like, I know who it is. Let me walk you through the steps. And then we get 3 distinct endings where he basically goes through and explains how each of this things could happen. So the first one...
So at first they pin it on Miss Scarlet, and then they pin it on Miss Peacock, and then at the end, Tim Curry is like, it was me all along. I'm Mr. Body. I was the one that was blackmailing you. You just killed all of my informants for me. Because everyone, like, it's not one person did one thing, it's like everyone kind of killed the, like, one person. And
it turns out that Mr. Green was an FBI informant the whole time, so he, like, saddles up and is like, I'm not a gay state employee, I work for the FBI! And then...
Who, me? Gay? Never. I'm gonna go home to my wife.
I'm gonna go home and sleep with my wife! And then the FBI comes running in, and basically everyone gets their big, justice served. Who is it but Jen in Gary's office with the chocolate or vanilla notes list? That's the
murderous combination.
The murderous combination is you asking me questions this week. And if you're watching on video, all our Patreon listeners, you'll see that Jen and I are together because I just made her watch the movie Clue with me because Henry said, I'm all set. And so I was like, hey, Jen, you want to watch a movie with me?
Want to buy me some food and some wine?
Do you want to buy me dinner and then watch a movie from 1985 with me? That sounds like a great time. To me, I'm just going to invite myself over. How does that sound?
Win.
But Jen is here to host our interim podcast segment, Chocolate or Vanilla. She says 2 things. We all say which one we like better. It's a hoot. It's a romp. It's a riot. It's murderous? No, typically not. Jen, is there a theme this week?
So there's a theme. It's games.
Hell yeah. We're doing game month. Game theme, it fits. Beautiful. Let's get cracking.
All right. Chocolate or vanilla?
Chocolate.
Vanilla.
Chocolate.
I'm shocked.
Chocolate, vanilla, or strawberry?
Chocolate.
Vanilla.
I'll go chocolate today. Wordle or Wordscape?
Oh, we were just talking. I'm a Wordle girly. I don't do it every day, but I will do it like, on occasion. But Wordscapes is the game. That's my Candy Crush. That's the game that I'm on level like 6,981 that I refuse to give up. Emily and I have actually both been kind of on the like iPhone game train lately. That we've been kind of like reverting back to our middle school. Like I was weirdly playing Temple Run the other day. Like what the fuck is like what is happening to me? But we both have been on that 2048 grind, and I've never stopped.
I've always been a Tetris guy.
Wordscapes, it's just like the letters are in a circle and you have to like fill out basically like a crossword puzzle to make all the letters. It's stupid, but it doesn't take any internet access to play, so I like to play it when I'm like, don't have service somewhere, like on the train or like whatever. But yeah, Wordscapes is my fucking bitch.
That's nice. I'm gonna go for Wordle on this. I didn't play Wordscapes very much. But I'd say I was a very big fan of Wordle for a while.
Nice. I'm gonna go Wordle. I play every day, and shout out to my mom, Pat. So I text Pat every day, and we tell each other how many tries it took us.
It's so cute.
That's adorable.
Next one, chess, cribbage, or checkers?
I learned how to play chess over the pandemic because I was like, why
Queen's
not?
Gambit.
The Queen's Gambit came out, and I also was like, why not? Also, my younger brother, who, like, between the two of us, I'm usually a little bit more academically advanced, let's say, than him. But he's a beast at chess, bro. He beats you, and you're fucking smart as hell, Jen. Like, Ryan, my kind of stupid younger brother, it just will fucking wreck anyone in this house at chess, and it makes me feel like a fucking idiot. Like, I'm like, damn, and that kind of really shot down my motivation. But I guess I'll pick cribbage, because I do like a game that has a little bit of structure. I think checkers is just kind of like, it's over before it's even begun kind of situation. But cribbage can be kind of fun. Cribbage can have a little zest to it. I'm truly not smart enough for chess, though.
I don't know that I've ever played cribbage, but when I lived with my good friend Kesty, we would go and we would play a lot of checkers, but we'd play like really intensely. You know what I mean? And, like, at a level that, like, chess was at or whatever. And I found that to be very fun. Like, you can get really into checkers, so I'm gonna go for that.
Intensely because it was competitive, or intensely because you were trying to go so fast?
Competitive. Like, we were, like, really putting a lot of thought into it.
I love that. I love cribbage, but I'm gonna go with chess. Next one. Monopoly or Connect 4?
Oh, I love a Monops. That's the other thing, that I am so chronically uncompetitive that it bothers the people around me, that I'll like pass up on really good deals, and everyone around me will be like, what? No, Park Place, you idiot. And
I'm like, I just wasn't in the mood.
I was like, I don't really like blue today. Like, but my brother-in-laws all really love Monopoly, and it's always a really heated time, but I especially love when we play the game of, or the Lord of the Rings Monopoly.
Oh my god.
So all of the territories are named like the Shire, Mount Doom, like and all the little pieces are like the people. I find that one to be a lot more fun, because I'm like, I don't give a fuck about, West Virginia Avenue or fucking whatever, but like when it's the Shire, I'm like, yeah, I want the Shire. Like, I feel like when you connect it to media, I feel like a lot of board games have like TV show versions of them, which can kind of seem like a capitalist grab bag or whatever, but I'm like, when I find myself more invested when it's like, I can relate, like Game of Thrones Risk, right? Risk with America, I don't care. Risk with Westeros? Are you kidding me, bitch? I want the Iron Islands. Like,
I'm gonna have to go Connect 4 on this one. I hardly have ever played Monopoly in my life, but I love a Connect 4. That's, again, one that, like, I feel like I can strategize to a high level on for no reason.
Nice. I'm gonna pick Connect 4 also. I'm not a big Monopoly fan. One time we played, though, and Gary was buying houses and then selling them and buying, like, trying to stay in front of us so that we kept landing on his houses.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you cannot buy and sell the houses.
You
and
can.
Sure enough, you can.
You can, yeah.
Yeah.
That's actually really
It was
smart.
a bad time. Yeah. It was
My dad loves capitalism.
Next one is Trivial Pursuit or Chick-a-Pig.
Both are really good. Chickapigs, I don't know if this is like a widely known game, but it's one of our household favorites. It's basically a 4-way, 4 people play, and you're playing against the person across the board from you, and you're like moving pieces. I don't even know what to describe it to.
There's like hay bales and poop.
There's hay bales and poop,
and little chicken pig combos.
Yeah, that poop and can move. I can't even describe it, but I am gonna pick Trivial Pursuit though, because I love me some trivia, even though I'm like not that great at it. I love me some trivia because afterwards, I'm like, I have internalized every question I got wrong and I will never get it wrong again.
There you go. I'm also going to have to go for Trivial Pursuit on this one. I have never heard of Chick-a-Pig, so.
We're going to get the 3 of us and Henry to play Chick-a-Pig.
We should. Let's all have a game board night. Maybe we can like live stream it or something. That would be so fun.
You should do that. You should do that with Henry's brothers. Everybody would love that. They're so fun. I am going to go, oh my gosh, Trivial Pursuit. Your genetic predisposition to not be that good at it and love it comes directly from me.
And my father, Gary, proposed to Jen over a game of Trivial Pursuit. He made the last question.
He's like, here's the final question.
Wild.
Okay, yeah, no and fucking shit. I'm like a nerd.
He's not that corny either. Like, so for him to stage something like that was kind of funny. Next one, Candy Crush or Angry Birds?
Ooh, I'm gonna be real right now. I haven't played a game of Candy Crush in my life. Not a once in my life have
You've played Candy Crush type of things though, right? Like a lot of stuff seems to be based on Candy Crush theory.
I don't like it and I don't engage with it. But I did play Angry Birds back in the day. I did not like how like hyper commercialized Angry Birds got. Like the little plushies were being sold at Hot Topic and they made a movie and I was like, it's just not that serious. It's an iPhone game. Like it's just not that serious. Yeah. But I guess I will pick Angry Birds because objectively I did engage with that.
Yeah, I also haven't played Candy Crush. I played I don't know if you guys ever played this, like it's probably like 2008. I played it a lot on my dad's like laptop, like Bejeweled Blitz or whatever, which is very Candy Crush adjacent. But I'm gonna go for Angry Birds on this one because that game raised me.
I'll go Candy Crush. Next one is Uno or 5 Crowns.
What is 5 Crowns?
Oh, I thought you guys might not know it. It is like
a card game?
It's a card game where the first set is 3, then 4, then 5, then 6, then 7, all the way down.
I guess I don't know it, but I will pick Uno. But I don't like how intense people get about Uno. Like, I feel like every game of Uno, somebody's threatening somebody else's life.
Yeah, true.
About a reverse card and what it means. Like, I'm always like, I just don't think it's that serious. But everyone's always like, fuck you and your mother. No! And like, I'm just like, it's Uno, bro. Calm down.
Yeah.
But hey, shouts out to all you competitive bitches for really putting it down for your win on Uno.
I'm gonna go for Uno. I agree. I don't like how, I feel like whenever I play, I feel like I have to reestablish the rules because everyone plays it a little differently. Like, can you stack cards? How many cards do you have to pick? Like, you know what I mean? Yeah, but I do enjoy a game of Uno. I feel like it's kind of classic.
I will go with 5 Crowns, which is a really, really fun game to play with a big group.
Okay, big group. Yeah, that's uncommon too. Yeah. I feel like most card games are ideal. They max at like 6.
Yeah. This one you play with, it's at least a double deck, so you can play with like,
oh, nice.
Like many people. Yeah. Next one, Solitaire or Yahtzee?
I kind of hate Yahtzee.
I agree.
Because it's like, there's no skill, it's just, you're just rolling dice to roll dice, and I'm not into it. So I'll pick Solitaire, I guess, because at least that's accessible.
Yeah, I'll kind of default on Solitaire as well.
Yeah, I'm gonna pick Yahtzee. I love filling out a scorecard, completing a scorecard. That does it for me. Next one, Jenga, Candyland, or Sorry?
Ooh, Jenga. Yeah. I like, because Jenga is true skill.
Yeah.
That is a measurement of true skill there. Any other game you could maybe amount to like, oh, the dealing of the cards, the rolling of the dice. No, Jenga, that's all on you, bro.
Decision making.
Yeah.
I'm
also gonna say Jenga on this one.
All right, Jenga for the sweep. Next one, Scrabble or Boggle?
Oh, I love both of these, and I'm not good at either. I'm bad at both, but I have you ever played like phonetic Scrabble or like Scrabble with loose rules, right? So if you like put down a word, but you can make a good enough argument that it's a word, even if it is not in the Scrabble dictionary, because I've played with some hard Scrabble dictionary people of like, you put down a word that you think is like, I use this every day, and they're like, it's not in the Scrabble dictionary. Like, there are some hard rules on Scrabble. I like loose Scrabble, you know? You put like OMG, or like, you know, you spell out something and you're like, no, this would reasonably spell baloney, but it's like BLGNEA, like baloney, and everyone's like, sure. You know, you're all a little drunk. That's how I like Scrabble. I find Boggle more jarring because there's a time limit. I kind of like a timeless game, so I'll pick Scrabble for that reason.
I'm also gonna go for Scrabble on this one. I don't know what Boggle is.
You don't know Boggle? There's all these dice, six-sided dice with letters on each side in this like box. In like a snow globe, and you pop the snow globe and it puts all the letters up one side, so it's in a little grid, and you have to find words. It's like a word search, right? So you're like searching for words in this grid that was just made by random, and whoever gets the most wins.
Oh, I like
it's
that.
Kind of fun.
I'd be interested. I'd like to try that, but I'm gonna go for Scrabble just out of experience.
I will also go for Scrabble. Last one: Minecraft or Subway Surfers.
These things could not realistically be more different. And I feel like I'm gonna get hate for this, but like, all of Henry and all his brothers have this Minecraft servers where they like make a land, and they're like, Dara, come, it's not that hard. And I just go and I'm like, I don't want to dig a hole for 40 minutes. Like, I don't want to dig out a cave and then just like find diamonds and be like, this is great. Like, I don't have that primal instinct to just like mine, I guess. I don't have the male instinct to like gather minerals. I don't know, but bitch, you know I still have Subway Surfers downloaded on my phone. I low-key, like, I want to say I hate them, but I kind of love them. The TikTok videos where somebody is duetting, just like with Subway Surfers going on the
like a Reddit
screen.
story.
It like satiates my brain. I can't help but say that I love it. So I'm gonna have to pick Subway Surfers.
Yeah, I get that. However, I am gonna go Minecraft on this one. I've never played Subway Surfers. I've hardly played Minecraft. But I just think it's, I like what you can do with it.
Yeah, you can be creative and you can like make buildings. I was never that kind of girl though. Like, I was never like a design my home in The Sims kind of bitch. Like,
really?
I don't like to put in that kind of work.
I'll go Subway Surfers too, because I always thought Minecraft looked a little boring.
You're like, I'm paying $30 for this. This kind of sucks.
And that is it for the first version of Game Chocolate or Vanilla. Because now that I know you're doing a whole month of Clue, and not to go on the I don't know if you'll bring it up during the pod, but Clue Junior.
We had Clue Jr. for surezies.
We loved Clue Jr.
And it was always like, what sandwich did they eat in what room, with what drink?
Yeah, what drink did they have? What time of day was it?
It was like peanut butter jelly sandwich.
I think I also played Clue Jr.
It was like PB&J in like, what was the house was just a house, right? It was in the playroom with a lemonade. Like, it had nothing to do with killing.
It was like, who ate the cake?
Yeah, who ate the cake? Yeah.
That was a good one.
So funny. Well, Jen, as always, thank you so much for providing these questions. If anyone wants to shout out their favorite board game, I am a board game lover, and I'm often looking to give board games as gifts to people. So if you have a board game that you particularly like, please drop it in our comments, DM us, wherever, because I want to know about it personally, and I just want to like buy it for somebody else and be like, you learn the rules and then teach me. That's kind of my vibe with it all. But as always, thank you. We love you, and we'll see you next week.
All right, I love you guys. Have an awesome night.
Bye.
Bye.
It's camp. It's a lot of fun. I would have just made the middle of it a little bit different. I just didn't really need all of the, which you kind of need the tramping about the house to make it like the board game. Because it's about the game. You as a character piece move into different rooms to find different pieces of information. So it is quite funny that they're like, oh, we're gonna have this party, manually move through this house in order to learn things. Which I get, but like maybe take a little creative liberties. We didn't really need to do that.
Well, for 1985, I'm not mad about it. Like, I enjoyed the movie. I wouldn't say it was like a bad movie by any means, but like it is very much, you kind of have to keep in mind it is based off of the game.
I don't know if I'm like a basic ass bitch for like thinking this, but I just wish that their outfits matched the colors that they are in the game.
I mean, obviously, it was meant to do that,
But it didn't, so the only thing I will excuse is the fact that Mrs. White is wearing all black because it's her husband's funeral. That's funny. That's like a visual gag. Keep that. Miss Scarlet is in peacock blue, so that's confusing to me already.
Yeah.
Miss Scarlet should be wearing red. Like, I don't need to be spoken down to, but I just think the costuming in this movie was so fun, and the set design is, like, so high camp that I'm like, couldn't they have just let me have this? Like,
they didn't want to.
Couldn't they? Because I think they were like, we're gonna subvert expectations and not do the color thing. But I'm like, no, I want Colonel Mustard's suit to be mustard yellow. I want Miss Scarlet to be wearing a sexy little red dress.
Of course.
I want Professor Plum to be in a crushed velvet purple suit. Like, that's what I want. I want them to match. Call me basic.
I don't know. I don't think Mr. or Professor Plum deserved, like, a fire fit like that. He was by far the creepiest man in this movie.
There was definitely a lot of, like, weird behavior towards women in this movie. That definitely
wasn't, like, quote-unquote 1957 or some shit.
Yeah, and his whole thing was, like, he slept with a patient. He's probably not a great guy. So, like, we get that, but it is a lot of staring at Yvette's tits, but that's from across the board everyone.
I was doing the same thing.
No one is excused from Yvette's globes. Which her French accent was sending me.
I loved it. It was brilliant.
So bad. Just the, like, it was, like, purposefully bad.
Which is, I love when a movie does that and, like, does it well. Because, like, a lot of the times, like, shit like that, especially, like, during, like the 80s and stuff like that, and obviously beforehand, a lot of the times it would just come off as, like, really fucking racist and all that shit.
Yeah.
But, like, doing a bad French accent is never, like, not funny, you know what I mean?
And just, like, the fact that she was in that scantily clad little maid outfit, it's just like, what the fuck is going on here? Yeah. I liked that this movie was so silly and didn't really take itself very seriously at all. I didn't need more of that in film, but it was just, like, the lack of plot progression for me.
Yeah, I did love the set design, though. I will agree with you there. I thought that was great.
I wish, like, that new buildings were as cunty as old buildings, you know what I mean? Like, new buildings now, like, aren't allowed to be cunty because of, like, codes and stuff, but I had a coworker...
Which is good, but also, like, for aesthetic purposes, terrible.
But I guess I had a coworker who went to college to be an architect, and he said basically he, like, wanted to change careers after he finished his degree because he's like, architecture there is no, like, art in it anymore. It's all about, like, budgeting and money. And safety. So he's like, so you can't make anything look good because that's expensive, and you can't make anything look good because that's not allowed. So he's like, beautiful old buildings and structures, you study them, but then they're like, and you are never allowed to make anything like this ever. Now build a community college, like, just plexiglass, like, so ugly. So he was like, I just, like, thought there was gonna be some, like, level of, like, expression.
Artistry.
Yeah, he's just like, and it's just like, there's no way to do it unless you have $1 bajillion, which who does? Like, unless you're, like, building Beyonce's house and she's like, go for it. Like, make
whatever
it
you want.
But
so disheartening, dude.
Yeah, so many buildings now are, like, make sense why they're just so, like, bland.
Oh my god. And people, have you ever seen, like, those people on, like, online, or just anyone in general who, like, flips a house and it just becomes the fuggliest shit you ever seen in your life, like, destroying these beautiful old, like, spiral staircases and shit like that, or, like, this original wood from 1903 and all that, and just, like, making it all white and, like, quote unquote modern.
Yeah, I like when the opposite happens and somebody, like, It's like, yeah, we ripped up a floorboard to see what was underneath, and it was this beautiful tile that just got covered up. Like, I like when the reverse happens.
Of course.
They're like, oh, like there was this really cool backsplash that they just like put something ugly over, so now we're gonna like restore it to its original condition, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, but I mean, hey, we'll never be able to buy a house in our lifetime anyways, with the way things are going, so...
Love that for me. So please subscribe to our Patreon so we can have a swamp house in a swamp.
Yeah, Dara and I are gonna own a we'll own like a murder house style like old house like that.
But we'll podcast from it, but the audio quality will go down drastically because there will be like swamp creatures, like there'll be like wet squelching noises and like of rotting wood and like dilapidating walls. Love that.
I think you, me, Henry and Maya could all live in a house very what's the right word?
Like compatibly?
Yes.
I haven't had roommates who aren't my husband in a long time though, so I don't know. I'd be like,
there's a big enough house.
Yeah, maybe like you know how like sometimes 2 hotel rooms will have a connecting door?
Exactly.
Have, like, 2 connecting houses with like a little tunnel underneath or something.
I love that. It's just a crawl space.
It's our apocalypse bunker.
Perfect. Brilliant.
Some like cans of stuff.
I mean, it's just like 2 lesbian couples anyways, really.
Henry, like the most Home Depot employee ass looking man.
He's been bald since he was 18.
Bald since he was like 12, bro. I look at pictures of him in elementary school and I was like, that hairline was never. I appreciate that about Henry though, because he's always just kept it buzzed. Like, because he's like, it doesn't look good when I grow it out because it looks like I'm trying to compensate for something. And I'm like, that's, at least you know it, you know?
Yeah. He's self-aware.
Yeah.
It's more than a lot of men can say.
I also love the poster of this movie. That's another art form that I feel like is really lost these days. Is because I feel like we're in the sort of like hyper photoshopped era of like every character in the movie's head shoved into a pyramid formation on the middle of the poster, and then it's like vaguely graphically stylized, and it looks bad, and it looks really bad. This movie poster is so cunty. I just think a lot of movie posters now look ugly, and there are always like alternate versions that you can find online that like look just so much better that just like didn't get used because they don't follow some basic ass formula that like.
It's just some 13 or like she's like literally just some 13-year-old girl in her bedroom, like she just got like the Adobe suite and is like starting to fuck around,
like on Canva, making something better than what is available. Like,
oh, absolutely, that's all it takes. It's like the same way that like you'll see like Grammy nominated like albums that have been edited on like someone's iPhone GarageBand. It's exactly like that.
But as far as like good movie posters, the most recent one that really comes to mind is Shiva Baby. That movie poster is just like so immaculate and such like a perfect example of how you can portray your movie without it being just like, here's everyone's face in the middle, you know, is
how you can just be fun.
Yeah, very cool and stylized. But I also thought that this movie's movie poster, I was staring at it for like 20 minutes. I was like, oh, so I just wish we could restore this art form.
I liked the Pearl movie poster a lot.
Yeah, so true. I guess when you think about it, a lot more like independent or artsy films will inherently have better movie posters.
Yeah, well, A24 tries it and does it pretty decently.
And I guess a lot of the ones I am complaining about are like, I don't really care if a Marvel movie has a pretty poster or not. Like, that's not like, for me. But do we want to get into some of our regularly scheduled programming?
Absolutely. Fuck, marry, kill. I mean...
So do we just want to give ourselves the lot of them plus the butler? I feel like, because there's no way to just pick 3. I'm gonna marry Tim Curry, obviously. Even at the end, when he revealed he was plotting and scheming, that he was the bad guy the whole time, I still loved it. I was like, yes, I love this for you. He's like, actually, Mr. Body was my butler, and I'm the one plotting and scheming. But I also just, like, also love the moment where he's, I guess, lying, but he's talking about his wife and why Mr. Body had, like, swindled him into being his, like, I was about to say bodyguard, being his butler. Basically, he's like, my wife... she was a socialist, and or she like hung out with some socialists. So basically, her body like blackmailed them into being his like servants, and then she killed herself, which is sad, but also ended up being a lie. So not as sad. I just loved the like dramatic pause and gasp for like a socialist.
The communism was a red herring the whole time.
Love, but I'm gonna marry Tim Curry. I'm gonna fuck Miss Scarlet because
of course
she is banging, and I want that dress. And I'm gonna kill. I guess I'll kill Mr. Green because he's the FBI. He works for the fucking FBI. Not chill, bro.
No, not chill. But I don't fuck with how pervy Professor Plum is. So I'm gonna kill Professor Plum. I'm gonna marry Mrs. Scarlet. And then we can run her business together.
Love.
Because there's nothing wrong with sex work. And I'm gonna fuck Yvette.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Of course.
I want her to do the bad fake French accent, even though I'm like,
oh yeah, she's wearing the maid costume. I'm wearing my maid costume as well.
With your little mustache.
And then you're hosting your own little murder mystery dinner party. What are you going to eat and drink?
So my answer, pretty lame, but considering how much we've talked about Clue Jr., I wanted to base my answer off of the game Clue Jr., which instead of a murder mystery, because it's for kids, it's about who, like, ate the cookies or whatever, like the sandwich. And it was always like, what sandwich with what drink in what room. So it was always like the little game pieces, I can like see them in my mind's eye. Like in my mind palace, there are like these game pieces of like what the little sandwiches look like.
Yeah.
Like it was the peanut butter and jelly with the lemonade. And I always remember as a kid being like, why would anyone have, Coke with a turkey sandwich? Like, obviously you should pick the juice. Like, in my head, I'm criticizing the sandwich and drink pairings, but I think for your party, everyone shows up with a different little finger sandwich of just, like, whatever you want. So just, like, little, or, like, sliders, whatever sort of little baby sandwich you want to have. So everyone brings a different one, then you have, like, a myriad of little sandwiches, and then the same thing for just make a little cocktail, you can base them off the game. Like, I think lemonade, like, milk, water, and soda are, like, the options, which is, like, gross. But just, so you have, like, your little options of sort of whodunit, a little sandwich and a little drinky drink, which is sort of a cop-out answer, but...
Fair enough. Both of mine came straight from my TikTok recipe saves.
Love.
So I think that I always like when it's like a movie like this in a setting like this, if you make something with a dark liquor. So I said you make like a blackberry bourbon smash for this, which looks really good. It's like 2 ounces of bourbon, Cointreau, honey syrup, and like muddled blackberries.
Love that.
Which sounded really good. And then, Tim Curry is the butler a handful of times, just kept asking, anyone for dessert or fruit? And so I figured a blood orange tiramisu would be really nice to go with that. Very berry-esque, it's dessert and it's fruity.
That's cunty.
Exactly.
That's really... Tiramisu's not easy to make, though, because you need fucking mascarpone cheese, which is, like, not easy to find, and you also have to, like, soak the lady fingers, but if you over-soak them or under-soak them, it's, like, a big issue. My mom tried to make she successfui made tiramisu. It was, like, her... her
crowning achievement.
Her resolution, like her New Year's resolution, was like make tiramisu, and it took a little trial and error, but like she got it. She made a pretty good tiramisu. Brilliant. And she challenged Henry. She's like, "You need to make a beef Wellington, and I'll make tiramisu, and we'll have like a feast for the kings." And so we did that. It was I didn't have to do anything. It was awesome.
Did he make a banging beef Wellington?
Oh yeah,
nice.
And then. Hot. What would you follow this movie up with?
I think you go with a more modern murder mystery, and not the original movie, but I think you watched the new remake. I think you watched Scream 5.
Oh, okay, interesting. I don't know.
Jenna Ortega.
Okay. Did you see it? It was good? You'd recommend?
Yeah, it was good. I liked it. For a remake, it was great. I mean, like, it can never be, like, as good as the original. Like, the original is so cunt. But, yeah, I liked it. So I'd say you watch that.
I think first and foremost, you and your party guests have to play Among Us. Even though I know that that's
Smart.
that is so in the past to the point where like if somebody says
fun.
it,
I think
like,
by now it's fun, and you can also like have your own. If you have enough people too, you can have your own lobby, and that's when it gets really fun.
I'm always so bad at it. I'm a bad liar. I'm bad at games where you're supposed to be like keeping secrets and stuff. I'm so like I show all my emotions on my face at all times, so I'm like so bad at it. But then I think you followed up with another crime movie, sort of a whodunit. We're getting sort of darker, a little more sinister, and I think you should watch Seven, mostly just because I really like that movie. But I feel like that's more about like investigating the crimes to get to the killer, and this was more like investigating the killers to get to the crime, so it's sort of like a reversal. I don't know. I also just really like that movie.
Great movie. Yeah. And then what are you gonna give this out of 10? I'm gonna give it 5.5.
I was gonna say like 5 or 6. Yeah, I think it's fun, and I see a lot of scenarios.
I enjoyed it
with putting it on, but there was just like dragging a little bit in the middle.
Yeah.
That I didn't, but the beginning was a lot of fun, the end was a lot of fun. Campy, super cunty, love, just like the quippy dialogue really kept me in it at times where the plot was really dragging. Like Tim Curry would just say something and I'd be like, you got me, and like I'm still here. Which I really liked. But yeah, 5 or 6. I don't envision myself like watching this again by choice, but if it was on, I'd be like, yeah, cute, love. And so I'm really excited to kick off Games as Movies month because I'm a gamer, not so much a video game gamer, but just in my life, but I'm bad at it, but I still really like it, which is true of a lot of things, that I'm just bad at it, but I just keep doing them because I like them, much like this podcast. So thank you all so much for listening. Thank you all so much for listening. Our episode for next week is going to be out a little late. These usually come out on Wednesdays, and I'm going on a trip to Washington State, which
you're going on your honeymoon.
I will. Yeah, I know, like a year and a half, fucking too late. But I'm also planning on going to Forks, Washington to go to the Twilight Museum. So hopefully, if that all goes as planned, there will be like a fun little vlog up on the Patreon of just me having my little Forks Twilight fantasy day. So keep your eyes peeled for that. Hopefully that'll be out sometime next week. But also I'm getting home and I don't want to do an episode the day I land. So it'll probably be out like Thursday or Friday or something of next week. So just don't get your panties in a twist if the swamp does not drop on time next week. And thank you all for listening. All our links to all our shit is in the description below. Please send in suggestions if you have them for Games as Movies month, but also just for other month themes, for movie ideas, recommendations, chocolate or vanilla things, all of it. You know where to DM us. We also have an email, if that suits you. And we love you all, and goodbye, and good night.